Hey everyone, this is PrinceBrightstar, and welcome to Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. Oh boy, we've been waiting for this for a very long time, haven't we? So, before we get started with the main scenario quest, there's a couple of things I need to take care of here. First, let me just point out we now have no more TP bar and 10,000 magic points. We can also see that down here. Actually, let me fix my UI real quick here. Oath gauge is a little too far over. A little bit more. And a little bit more. That should be good for now. Anyway, so the other thing that I'm noticing here is a bunch of abilities that can no longer be used. So I am going to bring up the HUD again here, and I'm going to enable this hotbar. And it's a shame that we lost them, but they are going to have to leave us for now. Savage Blade, from what I understand, is the big one that went away that basically made the combos a lot simpler than what they used to be. So I think it goes... yeah, Fast Blade, then Riot Blade, and then we can either do Royal Authority or Goring Blade. And we've also lost Flash as well. And yeah, here's all the abilities. So there's no more Sword Oath, no more Shield Oath for Paladin, it's just Iron Will, and all it does is just increases enmity generation. It has nothing to do with taking less damage anymore. Let's see. We've also lost Bulwark. Looks like... let's see, Roll. Yeah, we can't use Rampart anymore. Or Anticipation, rather. Can't use Awareness. Now, this is definitely simplifying things, that's for certain. We don't have Ultimatum anymore. I'm actually surprised by that. That used to be the AoE provoke ability. But we do still have Shield Bash, which is good news, so anytime I can stun an enemy, I'll be able to stun them. And let's also get Interject onto here for now. And that's right, there was also supposed to be a new AoE combo. But I'm not seeing that for right now. Oh no, here it is. So Total Eclipse goes there, Prominence goes here. Gotcha. Okay, so delivers an attack with potency to 100 to all nearby enemies, but it combos with Total Eclipse, which is this. And it restores MP when used. And I think I just saw a new version of Sheltron here, so... yeah, here we go. Let me put that right there. I can't use that anymore. Can't use Tempered Will anymore. Okay, so I can't prevent movement effects from... you know, moving me when I don't want to. We've got Intervention now, which reduces... oh no, that... actually, we already had that. Where is the new one? Intervene, that's where it is. Rushes target and delivers an attack of potency of 200. So, that'll be our gap closer coming up. At level 74, it looks like. And I think that's going to be it for now. So, let's go ahead and get started here. Tataru, what's the word? Circus Trench. Totaro is itching to share what appears to be good news. Good news, Prince. We've had a stroke of luck in our search for that beacon. Apparently, our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. A path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down there, checking under rocks and peering into every nook and cranny. Still, it sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover. Oh, this is a new interface here, so no longer is it a box up here. So... sounds like tedious work, but not as tedious as waiting around, I suppose. Exactly. So I was thinking we should go and lend a hand. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is this mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again. Meaning we have no time to lose. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way. And that is the new quest start sound. Alright, let us make our way over there. It looks like it's going to be down here to the southeast. While we make our way over, I just want to check my system configuration real quick. Okay, that's fine. I'm not seeing any lag on the stream, so that's good news. Alright, here we are. Heading to the survey site, sir? It's on the eastern shore of the lake, and the swiftest way to get there is by boat. Let's take the boat to the survey site. So this appears to be the base of the Crystal Tower.
Look how many people there are! Should we get to it then? Pick up anything that seems the least bit device-like, and we'll make ourselves a pile.
Sounds good.
Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour, maybe you'll change our look. We've found bugger all without you.
Biggs! Wedge!
Good to see you two. Looks like you've healed up.
Aye. Well, we could hardly say no to a call for aid from the Scions. Jesse called it the chief of some other business, so we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Thrice as hard, even.
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
I'm not seeing anything out here. Do you reckon you could squeeze in there, Wedge?
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Tataru, no! We couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be fine. This receptionist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
What do we have here? That the
Sorry, I meant to say, the scholars haven't finished their preliminary assessment of the site yet, so we're not supposed to venture too far in. What's that you got there? Now that looks promising.
Isn't that the ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Now I have you.
You are right.
What's happening?
looks like it's time.
Stay with me. Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait, this must be it. The device. Oh, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Oh, safe journey, warrior of light. Find our friends and bring them home.
You got it, Tataru. Here we go.
The dawn's light will shine again.
Oh, do not look at me so.
Or Chiffon.
You're slaves to a tyrant. There's no freedom in that.
This is one battle you cannot fight.
Away with you. I must say your spirited accounts always comes in.
We did everything right.
Arbor.
Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
Is that Minfilia?
Your time has not yet come.
Holding back a flood of light. If I had to guess, this looks like Lakeland. Arbor.
From endless dreams I awake.
something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
That's Arbert's voice, right? Hello there.
Rare to meet someone out here who's not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
Yeah, there's no night here. But it's bright as day.
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me granddad, God rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten old drunk, you, he'd reply.
Yeah.
Over 100 bleeding years ago, that's when. You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it. Ah, got to you, did they? Poor beggar. That explains it then.
No, thank you.
Well, I've roads to travel and wares to sell, but you best hurry along to the town nearby. Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. 'Tis the biggest settlement for malms around. Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the Crystarium.
Sounds good.
To dizzying heights it rises. The gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. There, it will all begin anew. Between dark and light. The pure and the corrupt. The one true struggle.
Alright, and we have control once again. Let me just check one more thing in here. Yeah, let me turn this thing off real quick. I noticed that during a quick thing. Take a look at this. We can't even mount up right now.
Every face in this city I know. Yours, I do not. This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions.
Of course.
From where do you hail?
That's a long story. The source.
The source? What is this cryptic nonsense? Had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin, but instead, you chose concealment. And I will not suffer you to pass.
Sin Eater, huh?
That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand, ring and all.
Everything all right, Captain?
It's you.
Quite all right, my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more. But I see you've met my guest. I will escort him to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
So I'm noticing the music here. This is a quiet version of the Aetherochemical Research Facility theme.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Thank you.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private. Right then, before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons.
Of course.
I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you are still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief. And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
Why don't you take your hood off already? Are the other scions here?
Ah, that is a question with no simple answer. But all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the first, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost. And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now. Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the First from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. That I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. Though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try, for in saving the First, you would bring salvation to the source as well. But what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
Alright. Lead the way, Gratia.
Such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
And already we have a crowd here. Let's get inside. Oh, actually, no. There's, looks like the next quest is right here. Or the end of the quest, rather. And here we are. Welcome, my friend, to the Crystarium. City of the First. Now, a full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you first to gain a firmer grasp of the situation here. To that end, I would like you to visit a few of the Crystarium's civics leaders, and glean something of this world and its predicament. As you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, a convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you should in theory be able to reach all the way back along your etheric trail and find a connection in the source, believe it or not. I strongly suggest you complete this attunement before venturing any further. After you've done so, walk up the steps next to the Aetheryte, and head out to the left to arrive in the crystalline mean. This is where you'll find our collective of crafters and gatherers, as well as their spokeswoman, Ketlis, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Morid. To reach him and his Cabinet of Curiosity, you'll want to avoid the aforementioned steps. Take the exit on the left, and simply continue straight along and down until you come to the large doors at the end of the path. The third and final person I should like you to meet is Bragi, our man in charge of trade and distribution. He is to be found in the markets, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aetheryte Plaza. In seeking out each of my colleagues, you will visit the major districts of the city, and hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough? Crystal clear. Ha! Very good. I concede the layout of the Crystarium owes more to historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be in finding the right way to approach its citizens. As you discovered during your encounter with the Captain, the people of this world are unaware of the existence of other stars, and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim to share a homeland with the Crystal Exarch. There is an unspoken rule here about peering too deeply into that particular mystery. When you've finished making the rounds, pray meet me in the large courtyard at the center of town. Until then. Alright, let us make our way over to that Aetheryte then. By focusing your senses, you detect the flow of vastly distant currents of aether. Your connection to these energies is faint but stable, and should allow teleportation to aetherites in the source. And indeed, everything is showing up here. We have this new option here for Norvren for the Crystarium. Let's check the downstairs area first. Seems to be some sort of a gardening area, I guess. Here we go. It must be up above. Yeah, there's an indicator on the mini-map now, in terms of where people are. Apparently, they might be a little further up, though. Here we go. Excuse me, sir. Are you recently come to the city, perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic roles, you see, and well, What I mean to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll even? A scrap of scribbled-on parchment? My apologies. Literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. Librarian Morin, at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any title in particular? Mayhap a spot of academic research? Oh, so you've an interest in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives. I quite agree. If you would prefer something visual to accompany the account, then I think I have an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment, and I'll fetch it for you. And here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair? Make yourself more comfortable? On with the lesson then. A 100 years ago, or near enough not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadowkeeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks. It pooled and swelled without cease, until the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet just when it seemed that all would be lost, a savior appeared before us. The Oracle of Light. She stood twixt us and approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood. Thus was Nordvrant, and Nordvrant alone spared the fate of erasure. So Minfilia got here just in the nick of time, basically. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These sin-eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from Nordvrant's sky. Even now they circle the remaining bastions of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I would be glad to retell it for you. Or if you would rather I speak of other matters, that too would be my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. Your exchange with Morin has taught you about the Flood of Light. Alrighty, let's make our way down here. So I just switched over to Bard specifically so I could use this Peloton ability, just so I can keep running. Rare to see a place so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. I'm going to guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. Safer and more civilized, too. Thanks to us in the Mean. We work together to procure materials and resources, and craft the goods which make the city life possible. This is the place to visit if you need a coat mended or a kettle forged. Just don't go thinking it'll all be handed to you on a plate, like those Ilmoran layabouts. Here in the Crystarium, we work for a living. Though, I see you're no stranger to honest labor. You don't have that whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you're from? One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say? I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him. And any friend of his is a friend of ours. It's really quite incredible when you think about it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence. Pulled the entire thing out of thin air. Yeah, that kind of confirms the idea that the Crystal Tower might have the ability to move around. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating at its base, desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began. At the Exarch's invitation, buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into the thriving metropolis you see today. The city stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looks exactly the same as he did back then. He is indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all his secrecy, he has never yet let us down. So if he and you wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you've aught to contribute on that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had a chance to settle in. Just ask for a catalyst, and I'll find you a niche here in the crystalline mean. You can help us keep the cogs of the city greased and turning. Your exchange with Catalyst has taught you about life in the Crystarium. Oh, I'm sure I'm gonna get full use out of that. Just for reference, all my Disciple of Hand are at level 70, all my jobs are at 70, except for the new Gunbreaker and Dancer, and Blue Mage, but what can I say, that's a limited job at 50. Gathering is the one place I still need to get some experience in, but that's for a later time. Anyway, let us make our way over to that last point. New to the city, friend. The spinning head and wide eyes give you away. And here we have our first Hrothgar, or in this particular world, they're called Ronso. Welcome, my name is Bragi, and I am the master of these markets. They gave the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it. Too florid by half. In any case, our merchants stock a range of equipment for Dron, such as yourself. That's what Aura are called on this world. So finding something in your size shouldn't be a problem. I had the feeling they were going to address that. Something wrong? Let's see if we can straighten this out. See those two in front of us? The shorter one is a human, and the taller one is an elf. That sturdy individual over there is a Galjet, whilst the one with the horns is a Dron, like you. And then you have the large, scaly chaps with long tails and a knack for raising livestock. Those would be a Zune. Not an Amalja, huh? Which is apparently not the name you know them by. Now, I'm curious to know which far-flung region you hail from. Ah, the same as the Exarch, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much further flung than that. We've had a few of your lot pass through in recent years, and despite the obvious learning, they floundered over the simplest things. In recent years? But all the... Okay, yeah, so there was some suspicion that there was some time compression or something like that going on. Because, you know, Arbert and his team recently came to the source. I'm guessing by the time they came back, many years had gone by. But not to worry, should you find yourself confused by the local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your questions. Your exchange with Bragi has taught you about the peoples of the First. Now, the question's going to become, once... Not this expansion, but, you know, further down the line, once we head to the second, the third, the fourth, are we all just going to have to know what each race is called there? Alright, so we need to make our way back over to here. Well, how did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clear picture of this world and its people? I guess we're just handing these in then. Yes, it seems you were treated to a most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a chore, but 'twas necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may have noted that details were sparse. The structure is, in fact, the self-same one you know from the source, transported to the First in its entirety. It was my first attempt at breaching the boundaries between worlds, something of a trial run for your eventual crossing, and although I do not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the wheels of fate in motion. Alright, quest complete. Thank you, Northern Shaman. The Travelers of Nordvent, rather. You've done as I requested, and learned something of the world in which you find yourself. Now it's time I fulfilled my half of the bargain, and explained what has befallen your comrades. That is a conversation I would rather have in the privacy of my quarters, however. I must go on ahead to the tower and organize a few things, but I shall see that the guard knows to admit you. There we go, finally! Just like that, then Gratia is? I am not familiar with that name. Is there something I should know? Huh. So then... Interesting. An extraordinary tale, but I'm afraid I found no such individual residing in the tower when it passed into my care. Mayhap we can revisit that mystery another time. For now, I think it best that we focus on the present. Actually, what he said about not knowing what time he pulled the Crystal Tower from could actually explain that, especially if this Crystal Tower... If I remember correctly, the Crystal Tower basically had vanished once the calamity, the 7th Umbral calamity hit. Or rather, it had reappeared. So if, yeah, because then we go into the Crystal Tower raid series in A Realm Reborn. So it's possible this Crystal Tower could actually be from before that happened. But that's just a guess at this point. Greetings, sir. The Exarch awaits you within. Let's enter the Crystal Tower.
Welcome to the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have much to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind. Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow Scions. To put it simply, they are here in the First. Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the Source. In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the First, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted. That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence, and thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time.
Yeah, but that's gonna spell trouble once the flow kind of starts to get crazy again, because then it might be troublesome to visit this world in the future.
As for your companions, however, Y'shtola and Urianger have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5. Even our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alisaie, have lived in the First for almost a year. My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well. As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are, in truth, merely spirits that one can see and touch. Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
And that explains their unconscious bodies on the Source. So, once whatever is going on here is finished, we need to figure out how to get them back to the Source. What have they been doing all this time?
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning, at least. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift. In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future. That which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the first was rejoined with the Source.
Something that I had suspected they were going to bring up, because that's what the Ascians have been chasing after for a long time. And the idea of the shards rejoining with the Source, I mean, that's a plot we've actually seen in this series before. Final Fantasy V, if you think back to that game, towards the end, you had both worlds essentially merge into each other. Both the world maps combined, and that's essentially what allowed XIV to access the Void. So, it's interesting to see that they're bringing that topic back up again now.
This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes.
I'm not surprised by that. I remember a certain turtle getting flipped over on its back.
Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die. And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the first, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity. Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
For the moment, at least, yes.
Excellent. You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
Alrighty, so quite the bit of news there that we ourselves die in those events. So definitely we have to do what we can on this world. Actually, I am kind of curious though. Now that I know what my fate is, and this is just throwing this out there. What if I were to, you know, stay off the Source and the First when that rejoining happened? I know, it's a silly idea. Like, say I was on the Second for a little bit while that happened. The Crystarium boasts a number of residential districts, but I have been informed that a room has just become available at the Pendants, which, as it turns out, is perfect. Our path there will take us past the markets, and I was hoping to give you my own introduction to their wares. Come along. Alright, off we go. Hey, Joey. Glad you could join the stream.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. What you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here. Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough.
That's at least some good
Each
news.
nation once minted its own coins, but was all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil, a word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here. And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice. From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you.
Tomestones. Okay, where's Rowena?
But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your homeworld. Avan Kerm Sin?
Yes, I'm here! Of course I'm here! What amusements do you have for me today?
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine gentleman is a friend from a distant realm. And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from his home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift? How wonderfully exciting! What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did! You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin. But answer me this, traveler. Did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails?
It seems like everything's here.
Just as I thought! Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass. From this moment forth I will be your Isne Fis, and you my Snay Yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other. Raise your hand.
Any downsides to this thing?
Tis done. We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then. Make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Mayhap her message to your friends in the Source to inform them of your safe arrival.
That would be a good idea. So, to Tataru then.
Consider it done.
As you heard, that was Miquo'te of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings. They rarely show themselves in populated areas, but Miquo'te is insatiably curious even by Pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystarium. Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
As a result of your pact with Miquo'te, you now have access to delivery moogles, market boards, and summoning bells while in the first. Northern Shaman, to answer your question, from what I understand, there's a world like Final Fantasy X Spira, but it's not really the same as what actually happened in that game. I think the way Yoshi P has likened it to is kind of like, this game is sort of the, it's sort of the theme park of the Final Fantasy series. I'm gonna get rid of Hotbar 10 at this point here. Ah, an Aethernet shard. We definitely need to connect with all these. Ah, there you are. I was just finalizing the matter of your accommodation. You'll have a private room here at the Pendants for the duration of your stay. Make use of as you see fit. When you're ready to retire, the manager will show you to your lodgings. Pray rest and recuperate. We shall reconvene in the Ocular anon. I believe that covers all of the practical concerns. Thank you for answering my call, Prince. We are denied the comforting blanket of night, but may peaceful dreams attend you nonetheless. Or I suppose, you know, I could always just make a trip back to the Source when I want to see night. A pleasure to meet you, sir, and welcome to your new home at the Pendants. Your room is ready, if you'd care to retire. Let's check this place out. Arbor?
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the Source.
The Warrior of Darkness?
What? Did you just... You can hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, gods, how long has it been? That was what I called myself in your world. The Warrior of Darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source. A daft one, looking back. If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood.
Too much good.
We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source, and try to hasten their goddamned ardor. I remember when we fell, defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia, how she listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the First. The flood was poised to swallow Norvrant. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away, leaving me to bear witness. Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood?
Apparently it's been about 100 years.
A 100 years. 100 long years. My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear.
And if I remember correctly, when they made the crossover into the Source, they lost their lives.
I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift. I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges. Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that?
I'm here to help.
You were summoned to save the First. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who try to save it. Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
Alright, so let's make our way back over to where the Exarch is. Master Prince, the Exarch awaits you with it. Let's head inside the Ocular.
Ah, how did you find your new quarters? I trust you were able to rest?
Sort of. I had a ghostly visitor.
I was not aware the room was haunted, and you were rather tired. Well, should you receive another visitation, be sure to let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts. This map shows the lands of Northrend, the only area to be spared the flood of light.
It looks a bit like Eorzea. I mean, we've got Limsa Lominsa on that island. Crystal Tower is in the center. Okay, so more of the physical features are similar. I mean, you could say Alamigo is up here, Gridania up here, Ul'dah down here, but obviously names have changed a bit.
The Crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland. To the north is the fairy kingdom of Il-Meg. That is where you'll find Urianger. To the east lies the once prosperous civilization of Rak-Tika. Your Stolar is stationed there, in the heart of the forest. Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the Crystarium. Alphino is on Calusia, an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Yulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness. For his part in furthering our cause, Alphino journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement. Alisaie, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Armorang. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin Eaters. In contrast to her brother, Alisaie felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foe. So, will it be Calusia or Armorang? It matters not which you choose to visit first. Simply inform me once you have made your decision, and I will see to it that you are provided with a suitable mount. Ah, but you must be wondering about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of Sin Eaters. Being ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
All right. we have a choice to make, and this is actually a pretty good thing for them to do, because it, for Square Enix to do, I mean, because it separates the player base at this point. So let's start by searching for Alisaie. Ready to depart for Amaranth? Alisaie will be overjoyed to see you safe. I know she was particularly concerned for your well-being. She, impressed upon me how regrettable the timing of her summoning was, repeatedly. I only hope that my part in sending you to her will garner me some measure of forgiveness. Here, this is a letter of introduction addressed to the man named Cassard, the master of a merchant caravan. There are few who know the ways of the desert as well as he does. Find him at the Amaro launch, and he will see that you reach your destination. Okay, and they also have another quest, but at this point, I'm actually full up on quests, as you can see. One of the tactics I use whenever it comes to new expansions is I always will take the time to make sure I don't clear the last of any quests. And so that way I can just grab a whole bunch of experience at the start. So I think I'm going to go ahead and turn some of that in so we can grab both these quests at the same time. And plus, I know this isn't going to, like, give me a full level here, but it's still at least giving me something to work with. But based on at least what I'm seeing here, we might get, like, by the end of this, maybe only like a 10th of a level, to be honest. You know what, I think that'll be good for now. If we need to, we'll come back here. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be wasting all that. Okay, so we need to head this way to get back there. I wouldn't say it's that bad. More... let's see. There we go. It's more, I think it was like 10 million experience points or so that you needed for the last level, so it's definitely making an impact here. But as you can see, for a regular quest out here, we get about 460,000, and that's just as a level 70 quest, so it's only going to go so far in the end. That plus, you know, having prepared ahead of time for the roulettes and the guild tests, those will also push me up quite a way, but I'm going to try to avoid that until, you know, once I'm taking my first break for the day. I'm probably going to go for about 4 hours to start. You will visit Alphino in Colusia then? Excellent. As I mentioned, your destination is an island off the west coast, so you will need a mount capable of making the journey. Here's the letter of introduction. Present it to Jimai, the master of beasts at Temenos Rookery, and he will take care of you. When you see Alphino, be sure to pass on my warmest regards. And this over here is apparently a portal to the source. I'm curious where this spits us out. Ah, it puts us back down here. Okay. Alright, so let's warp back over to the Crystarium. I am on the main version of the game. I did not use Steam when I first got the game, and frankly, if you're able to be on the regular version, that's probably best. Alright, so we need to make our way to the north. Now this appears to be the Rookery. We are going to visit there later. There's also got a feature. Try to find here. Actually, let me bring up the map at this point, because those are probably things I need to be looking at as well here. Sights of the First is probably going to be the sightseeing log. That's... I think if I remember correctly, that's going to be tied to either fates or hunts. Fortunately, they don't make it easy for you to find this stuff. Nuts board. The clan hunt board is covered in bills showing the details of wanted monsters. However, you're unable to accept any of the bills posted at present. Okay, so do I need to get up? Okay, I see it now. I need to get up there. Hold a moment, sinner. You're not from around here, are you? A fellow wandering soul? An eternal inhabitant of the road? I thought so. Erlath's the name. My aspiration is to travel the whole wide world, though it's a fair bit smaller than it used to be, so as far as dreams go, it's a lot more realistic than you might think. But danger still lurks in every corner and around every bend. Even so, this sinner's got nerves of steel. He's an explorer, Erlath. He's a born explorer, Erlath. There is no land too distant or place too forbidden. What is it that I spy poking out of your pack? A log, if I'm not mistaken. Give it over, if you would. Aha! I thought so. Record of fantastic vistas and unforgettable sights. We're kindred spirits, Amaro of a feather. Excellent, excellent. 'Tis only right that I share with you such wondrous experiences as you have with me. A collection of amazing vistas I cataloged myself, and I guarantee will rival the best you have ever seen. Nordbrandt may be a shadow of its former glory, but there is still joy and excitement to be found if you know where to look, my friend. So I implore you, look, look, look. Follow my footsteps. Savor every moment of the journey. And then, when you feel you have discovered every secret this realm has to offer, start again. I promise you won't be disappointed. There we go, sightseeing log expanded. Shadowbringers entries have been added to your sightseeing log. You must be a disciple of war or magic of level 70 or above to record Shadowbringers vistas. Travel to the location indicated and fulfill the necessary conditions. You complete the entry for that vista, earning experience points in the process. Use your wits and the notes provided by Erlath to identify these stunning sights and the proper way to appreciate them, and see Nordrun as only the greatest explorers have seen her. That kind of looks like Horshaphant, but that I don't think that's right at the same time. I think the hair color's different at the very least. Alright, so the other place we need to head is down to here. Oh, and there's an 8th right here, so let's go ahead and attune to that as well. If I can actually click on the thing. There we go. Nuts to you. Oh, you're you're him, aren't you? Haldor's been asking after you. You know Haldor, Clan Nutsy's man? If you're keen to hunt the deadliest marks for the biggest bounties, then you might want to seek him out. You find him by the board over in the rookery. Though, if I were you, I'd steer clear of that whole nasty business. Bad for one's health, it is. So that's gonna send us right back to where we were a moment ago. Did I already attune to this one? I did. I guess while I'm here, I might as well go ahead and attune to the other Aetherites. And then we'll get on our way then. So there's one over here, and then looking at the map, 1, 2, 3, 4 more that we need to attune to as well. Okay, this keeps going up and up and up. Actually, it looks like this has led us right to our first destination here, so... And we have our porter for the game, an aged Amuro tamer. So we're not going to hire them, since we're probably just going to be teleporting everywhere, to be honest. I guess I need to jump down here. Yep, here we go. And then we head this way. Here's the next Aethernet shard. There's going to be one down here, apparently. Why I can't get to it, I'm not sure. Well, actually, let's go ahead and activate this as well. Tradesmen, eh? You've that look about you. Interested in putting those skills of yours to use, undertaking a leave or two? It's all above board, all handled under the auspices of the Crystal XR. Worry not. We process and dole out a mountain of leaves every day. Register with us and you can peruse the open ones at your leisure. You'll be compensated too, in case you were afraid we were running some sort of charity. So, shall I put your name down in the ledger? Right then, PrinceBrightstar, was it? Let me just finish filling out this remaining bit of paperwork, and then you'll be all set. Crystarium leaves now available. And once again, nothing for the regular Disciples of War or Magic. It's just gonna be for the Crafters and the Gatherers, it looks like. My favorite character from 10? I probably would have to go with, I guess Kimari. I think they were, a pretty interesting character to come across. Could it be? The esteemed warrior himself? Well met, sir, well met. You are a very hard man to track down by all accounts, yet here you are, in the flesh. How blessed I am to make your acquaintance. I am Haldor of Clan Nutsi. Perhaps you have heard of us? We have certainly heard of you. I can tell you that. A fighter through and through. I'll come right to it. Interested in joining the clan? Apologies. Only a fool would sign up without knowing what we're about. And you're no fool, I can see that. The clan is how shall I put it? An association of adventurous souls who make a living hunting certain notable fiends. Marks, as we are wont to call them. Surely you're familiar with the concept? Norvrant is home to myriad living creatures, many of which pose a threat to her good people. Thus did the XIV, at least I think it was him, in his boundless wisdom call upon the Settlement Council to develop a framework that would encourage motivated hunters to dispatch these menaces. To wit, ye brave souls who slay marks shall receive due compensation. Not at all a bad arrangement, eh? If you've a mind to reap the benefits, speak with Zyle over there. She'll record your name in the ledger and see you're registered as a clan member. Alright. May I help you, sir? At the urging of Haldor, was it? I see. You're plainly more than capable of acquitting yourself well enough in battle, and so I have no grounds to refuse you. I hereby accept your application to join Clan Nutsi. Check the board for the latest bills. The tougher the mark, the better the reward. Hunt what you like, or nothing at all. However, you may only undertake hunts designated appropriate for a member of your current status, a novice. The clan is disinclined to allow unproven hunters to commit suicide by mark. Once you have achieved a sufficient measure of success, you will be permitted to pursue more dangerous fiends. Do try not to die before then. Alright, quest complete. Clan Nutsi hunts now accessible. As a new member of Clan Nutsi, you are permitted to take bills for 1 nut clan marks from the clan hunt board. Defeat the monsters described on the bills, and you will be rewarded with tokens which can be exchanged for exclusive items. To exchange tokens for exclusive items, speak with either Zyle or in the Crystarium, or with Ilfroy in Yulmore. New quests and 2 net landmarks bills will become available from Haldor in the Crystarium upon reaching level 73. Alright, so let's go ahead and scoop up these bills. They seem fairly standard. Okay. Now this guy here is apparently blocking the way to get to the last Aether, to the last of the Aethernet shards we need. I think there was one more over here. Oh wait, that's in the Cabinet of Curiosity. So for that one, we need to come back over here. And make our way down this hall down here. Here it is. You have attuned yourself to all the Aethernet shards in the Crystarium. Lakeland is now accessible as an Aethernet destination. That's why you want to do this, so that you have a quick way to get out of town when you want to get out of town. Okay, so let's head to the Amaro launch. If you've come looking for work, I might have a spot for another guard. Let's hand over the missive. Oh ho! A friend of the Exarch. Hoping to meet someone in Amarang, are you? Then I shall be your guide. I was about to set off for our outpost there, as a matter of fact. So we can leave right away, assuming you have everything you need. Let me switch over to Paladin, and let's make our way out. All set? Then off to the unforgiving sands we go. You can now travel to Amarang. Speak with the adroit Amaro tamer to fly to the desert. You can also use your Aether Compass to assist with locating Aether currents in new regions. Should you lose this compass, speak with Jeswern at the Amaro launch in the Crystarium to obtain another. Lost compasses can be replaced by speaking with Gilbrand at the Forgotten Knight and Foundation back in Ishgard.
Arang. From this parched earth, the nation of Nabath, Arang once rose. When I journeyed here, long ago, I spoke with a sun-weathered elder. He told me Armarang meant majestic land in the language of his people. And so it might still be, were it not for the light's unrelenting onslaught.
Alright, let's speak to Cassard. Oof, no matter how many times I come here, the cold never fails to catch me off guard. The sky may be as bright as the scorching hours of day, but it gets brisk enough to make you shiver. Now, the Exarch's letter said I was to take you to the inn at Journeyed Head, which is where this Alisaie friend of yours is staying. That's a fair old distance, so I propose we make a stop in Souq to break up the trek, allowing me to attend to some business and you to enjoy the local hospitality. Sound good? Good. Alright, you lot. I'm off, and I better not see the goods covered in sand when I get back. Right, we head southwest, straight as an arrow. Interesting creatures we got around here. The whole group's about to get hit. Stop here a moment. Oh, now we're gonna get hit. Let's take care of this guy. There we go. Stop here a moment. This is your first visit to Amareng, is it not? Before you cross the River of Sand, you need to turn around and feast your eyes on that. They built them big, didn't they? That's Khazar Shar, a fortress meant to protect the northern reaches of Nabath Areng. Seeing what was left behind, I believe it when they say that it was once one of Nordfrent's mightiest nations. At least until the flood came along. Great chunks of Nabath Areng's lands were lost to the light, its great city included. The few who survived didn't see much point in staying, most of them anyway. No, not many chose to come here these days. Not with everything in ruins. Even that hulking great fortress has become little more than an Amaru roost for me and my caravan. But not everywhere is as deserted as this place. Just wait until you see Souq. Let's press on, shall we? Looks like our destination's gonna be up in here. Here we are, Souq. By the blessed shadow, I love this town. Souq, not just full of Mord, but Humes and all manner of others too. It has long been a refuge for folk displaced by the flood, so the population is nothing if not diverse. Oh, have you met a Mord before? They might look like shifty little blighters, but a more welcoming lot you could never wish to meet. Speaking of which, we should pay our respects to Master Gen Gen. I'll go ahead and let him know we've arrived. Alright, here's another Amuro Keep. And it looks like the Mord those are kobolds. Alright, let's tune to this Aetheryte. That's a kobold.
Master Gengen, this is the friend of the Exarch I was telling you about.
Very good, very good. Though friend or no, all are welcome in Souq.
Souq is Mordish for city. As things stand, this Souq boasts the largest and busiest marketplace in all Armorang. You'll find ore from the mines here, of course, but all manner of other things too, many of them rare. As I told you before, not many visit Armorang by choice, but Souq's a different story. Merchants come from realms around to purchase the relics the Mord dig up.
Aye, that they do, for Mord do not dismiss the spoils of the earth. We clean them and polish them and reveal to the world their true value. That is why they come here, come from far away, come with much money. And so our Souq is always busy, busy, busy. No such thing as a thing no one needs.
You say that every time, Master Gengen. Some sort of family motto, wasn't it? Or perhaps a Mord philosophy, for which we should all be very grateful. Would that everyone was so willing to take in refugees regardless of race or creed. Now then, if you intend to spend any time here, you'll want to gain the trust of the locals. And there's a little custom all newcomers are expected to observe.
The cracking of the coin purse. You buy one thing from the market. Price can be low or high, just as long as you buy.
As the good Mord says. In fact, the Exarch sent a little something to cover this very expense.
Well, that was nice of him.
A Verbert gold piece, no less. The first I've held in years.
Verbert gold? Real Verbert gold?
Oh boy.
Here, newcomer, crack your coin purse with me.
Oh no, you want my goods, newcomer? I have jars and pots all smooth and shiny.
Over here!
Come and look!
You buy, you buy?
Enough of that! Calm, I say! This one must still journey through the barrens. Nothing bulky, nothing heavy, no pots! Nothing better for the road than a full belly. Spend that piece at Ronron's place, yes? Eat for 3 before you leave.
Sounds like a good idea. So now that we know that the Mord or the Kobold are here, I have to wonder, If our Exarch friend may have accidentally let a certain, shall we say, Gabu over to the first as well? I know, that's kind of a stretch if that's actually the case, but wouldn't that be funny if we actually did manage to find him here? Welcome to Ron's, traveler. I have wares to empty your purse and fill your belly. Take your time, stare and sniff before you choose. But no drooling on the merchandise, yes? Browse Ron's wares. You may move the camera as well as zoom in and out. Target a foodstuff and inspect it with the mouse. That's my ever-burning bounty, made with the best parts of the lizard, cured with special spicy spices. Some find the smell challenging, but it'll warm you up on a chilly desert night. Oh, you'll like those. Chewy skewers. Find small frogs hiding under rocks, spear with stick, then roast over fire. Crackly on the outside, gooey on the inside. Perfect for snacking. I call that mush loaf. The middle is stuffed with bittersweet cactus fruits, so even if the bread dries out, it's still moist inside. Keeps you going in the heat. Everyone's favorite, plump white worms slathered in honey. Once you eat a glazed wriggler, you'll never want any other treat. I think I'll take that spicy meat, to be honest. They all look tasty, yes? Which to choose? Which to choose? The ever-burning bounty. Yes, put some spice in your step. You won't feel cold this night, and probably not the next one either. You have the gold? And done. One Volbertype honor buys you 10 sides of lizard meat. Spicy! Every last mouthful, please. What an appetite, what a belly! A new legend is born in Souq. Consider your coin purse cracked. I am pleased to accept your custom, and Gengen will be pleased that you honored ours. Keeping the merchandise down, yes? No returns. Alrighty. Back over to Gengen. I was watching from here, Prince. You honored our custom, and with great relish. You will always be welcome in Souq. If you need anything in Amarang, we are here to provide. You have courage, my friend. Ron's wares are more exotic than harmful. But I don't envy you. the bellyache you'll have on the morrow. Right. Now that you've eaten, I expect you're eager to get back on the road. Would you mind if we delayed our departure a touch? I have a few deals left to close before I can conclude my business here in Souq. Oh, offering your services, are you? Aye, well, an assistant would certainly help hurry things along. I have a receipt here for some goods that need picking up from the market. All properly paid for, you just need to do the lifting and carrying. I'll go and take care of some last-minute haggling, then. See you in a bit. You may view the market receipt at any time during this quest by using the relevant item in the key items menu. Okay. So we need a table cactus, iron ore, and Nabath Orang antiques. This is an interesting way to kind of change up the quests. You need to look at what your you need to actually look at things and make sure you're actually going to where you need to go. We have a stack of crated armaments. If you're handling Cassard's porter work, you've come to the wrong place. He has no outstanding orders with my shop. Okay, so yeah. So it was... Full Toll was one of them. Cassard sent you, did he? Right, yes. What kind of ore was it again? Oh, I can't actually look at the thing. Let's see. So next, we need table cactus from Thon Ton. Actually, I think this was one of the kobolds. Mill. There we go. And what was it called again? Nabeth Orang Antiques. Of all the things we trade here in Souq, nothing is more important than water. Good for drinking, good for foot baths. Foot bath first, drink later. Now, we were supposed to collect that from another of the kobolds, apparently. Oh, I didn't even realize it's in the chat window here now that I've looked at it. Okay. What's this here? Honest pay for honest work. No experience necessary. It appears to be a job advertisement. Speak with the moored taskmaster master for details. There's Mole. Hey, no touching. That merchandise is spoken for. You can't possibly change my mind with a better offer. What? Cassard sent you? Why didn't you say so? I wouldn't dream of selling his goods to a higher bidder. Oh no, no. Nabatharang relics, wasn't it? All packed in that box there. Handle with care. Alright, and now we just need to find Thonton. Wherever this kobold is, they're hidden pretty well. Okay, here's that moored taskmaster. You'll do. Here for work, are we? Good. Honest pay for honest work. That's my motto. Your timing could not be better. I have a job for you. Take this package to my client, who is outside the village, to the south. Moored fellow. You will know him when you see him. Probably. Now listen carefully. You must not peek inside, no matter what. Is that clear? Good. Now, off you go. We'll take care of that later. Let's find... Tholtol. Or Thonton, rather. This is a place I can go into. Doesn't look like there's anything inside, though. Thonton, where are you? There you are. About time. You came in with Cassard, yes? Good. I can finally stop thinking about that sack. Please, take your prickly purchase. Alright, let's make our way back over to Cassard. Don't tell me you've been around the entire market already. I kinda had to, in order to find these things. Aye, that's the lot, alright. Good work. And quick work, too, considering you're not set foot in the place before. I thought you wanted to sit in the city like the XIV. But something tells me you're not a stranger to visiting strange lands. Unfortunately, your efficiency presents something of a problem. I had hoped to conclude all my business before you return, but it seems there's been some confusion over one of the orders I placed. I'll have to drag in my middleman and sort this mess out. I'm sorry to make you wait, make you sit around and twiddle your thumbs. Cassar? It feels like an age since I last saw you. Well, if it isn't the lovely Teslin. It has been a while, but your timing couldn't be better. This gentleman was on his way to meet with Alisaie. I'm supposed to be taking him to your corner of the desert, but a misplaced order has commandeered my attention. Wait, I know who you are. Alisaie has told me so much about you. You're Prince, aren't you? I knew it. How wonderful to meet you in the flesh after hearing all those stories. I'm Teslin. I work as a carer at the inn, and I've gotten to know Alisaie quite well since she took up guard duties there. Do you want me to take over as Prince's guide, Cassar? My shopping's all done and packed for the road, so it would be no trouble. That would be a great help, thank you. Well, it looks like you'll be able to head straight out after all. My caravan and I will be in the area for a while yet. Seek me out when you've had your fill of Amarang, and I'll send you back to the Crystarium. Alright, so we are going to get underway here then. Alisaie has been desperate to see you, Prince, so let's get you to her sooner rather than later. The inn isn't too hard to find, really. You can actually see the top of the rock spires from here. We just need to swing around the ridge, then head south. Come on, I'll get my supplies together and meet you outside. Alright, before we go, we have something over here that we need to unlock. Greetings, friend. You like helping people, yes? Maybe you can help me too. You see, my son, Gun, makes me very proud, but very worried. He works very hard. Too hard for his own good. He follows orders, yes? Follows them until someone tells him to stop. This is very dangerous, bad for his health. I need you to speak to him, persuade him to rest. He should be near the Red Sarai, probably leaving no stone unturned in his search for relics. Please, tell him his father ordered him to stop. Okay, so looks like that is a little bit outside town. Or no, that is... Wait, where is it? All the way back there. You know what? I think we'll pick that up on the return trip then. But at the very least, I will take care of this over here. Ah, there is the parcel. Get him. Combat, huh? I am loving this this AoE combo. I never run out of MP here. You were not supposed to fight back. Not fair, not fair. Our job was to steal the package, not to hurt anyone, I swear. Ask the Taskmaster. Yes, he will tell you everything. Alright, to the Taskmaster we go. Is there a problem? Still looking for the client, are we? He seems to be hiding something. Use the doubt emote to wring the truth from him. No, stop, I can explain. The truth is, there is no client, and the package is full of nothing but rocks. Not expensive ones, either. Just rocks. I hired people to deliver the parcel and another group of thugs to steal it. When they return to me empty-handed, I demand compensation for the loss of my wares. No blood spilled, just coin-changing hands, that is all. Please, boss, no more. This is too complicated, too dangerous. You're right. There must be easier ways to make money. We need something that requires less effort, less risk. Kind traveler, will you accept this as an apology? Maybe... and maybe no one needs to know about this, yes? Alright. And, something I wanted to show off real quick here is the weapon I used in battle just now. Let me do this. Yeah, here we go. So this is not the final stage of the Anima Relic, it's actually the stage before, but I went with it, as the look for the initial part of the journey here, kind of because while it is giving this kind of blinding light off of it, it's kind of got these shadows as well coming off of it, and I kind of felt that kind of it fit with what's going on here, what we're trying to do. Anyway, we need to head outside. All set? Oh, I should probably mention the wildlife. While most of them will leave you be if you keep your distance, the local coyotes have learned to prey on folk heading home from the markets. I can usually swing a sword well enough to fend them off, but I may have loaded myself down with too many bargains today. Do you think you can handle any beasts that try to make a meal of us? I thought you might. Alisaie was always saying how much, let's get going, shall we? Alrighty. So, one thing I want to do, actually, is... we just got into combat a moment ago, and we did not hear the music for battle, so let's go ahead and enable that. It's gonna take me a little time to learn where the buttons are now for the combos. Sorry, there wasn't much time to shout a warning. Were you bitten? Those things can be nasty. And yet hardly a match for you, it seems. I'd always thought Alisaie was strong, but in her mind, she was never... Now it makes sense. We should push on. it might be best if you scout ahead and clear out any coyotes that have our scent. I'll wait here so you can fight without any distractions. Fairly straightforward. I think they're just trying to ease us into things right now. Oh, thank goodness you're back. I could hear the howling and snarling from here. Frightful creatures. Let's hope the rest have seen your handiwork, and know to avoid us now. I need to get these supplies back to the inn. Yeah, I get the feeling that's gonna happen for a while. Looks like this is our destination. This is it. Thanks to you, I didn't have to drop my shopping even once. Come to think of it, I'm glad I didn't make the trip alone. It seems you ended up escorting me. I'll have to repay the favor somehow, but first let's head inside, shall we? Welcome to the inn at Journey's Head. You might be our first visitor from the Crystarium since Alisaie arrived. It's not much, but it's home for the afflicted and a handful of carers. The afflicted? You don't know? I don't think I've met anyone besides Alisaie who was so unfamiliar with our situation here. Most folk have grown up knowing someone who knew someone. I might leave out something obvious, so it may be best to have Alisaie give you the full explanation. Now, where is she? I think she might be out on patrol. You could wait, I suppose. Why not go and surprise her? she usually takes a look at things from the watchtower first, so you might be able to catch her there. It's not far. Head out the south side, and you'll soon see. I'll stay behind in case she comes back while you're gone. Out the south side we go. Oh, before we do that, we've got an aether current over here. And if you remember, in Stormblood and in Heavensward, these basically allow you to start flying once you've collected all of them. And once again, some of them appear to be tied to quests as well. Alisaie is nowhere to be seen, but you spot fresh footprints on the ground, and they look to be about the right size. The small footprints lead off to the northwest. The footprints continue on to the northwest. Footprints curved around to the west. Down to here, it appears. There are more tracks here, but they end in a mess of disturbed sand.
Get back here!
Is that... It can't be.
Good to see ya. Impressive.
Just a lesser sin eater. Nothing to write home about. I knew you'd turn up sooner or later, but I had been hoping for sooner. How are you?
Doing okay.
We fought them to a standstill then. The Exarch did say that the Empire seemed to have drawn back when he last looked in on the source. But without knowing for sure how fast time was passing there, I couldn't help worrying that a lot might have happened since then. I'm heartily relieved to hear that it hasn't, just as Alphino must have been. As you can imagine, both he and Urianger were desperate to hear the news from home when I arrived. I haven't actually seen Thancred and Y'shtola yet, but they will have heard all the latest developments from the Exarch by now, or should have at least. When I think of how frantic Tataru and the others must be, I want nothing more than to rush back and reassure them. But we still haven't found a way to reverse the summoning. And even if we had, we couldn't just ignore Urianger's vision. He may use 10 words where one would suffice, and they may often obscure as much as they reveal. But on this matter, he was as clear as day. I do not doubt for one moment that he saw what he claims. Nor how difficult it must have been to speak about them. The 8th Umbral Calamity and your death aren't exactly topics for idle conversation. As much as I might want to go home, I don't want to go home to that. We can't allow the rejoining to happen, which means we have to save the first from the Sin Eaters.
Agreed.
That great wall of white is a remnant of the Flood. 100 years ago, the balance in the first tipped decisively in favor of light. From that moment, it rose and swelled with each passing day, and then, without warning, it burst forth like water from a broken dam. A colossal wave of pure light, drowning everything in its wake. Only Norvrant was spared. For the most part, living things are composed of ether of various different aspects. But when exposed to such a flood, their etheric harmony is shattered, and their natural form breaks down. Then they either perish, or are warped into mindless abominations. Yes, that's how the Sin Eaters came to be. They were once living creatures, or people, that were caught in the path of the Flood.
And we saw the same thing from those on the 13th as well, when we went to the World of Darkness.
Once the change is wrought, there is no going back. In that instant, they are gripped by an insatiable appetite for ether, and will happily gorge themselves on any living thing within reach. But even that is not the worst of it. The stronger Sin Eaters can plant light in us, like seeds in soil, corrupting our ether and triggering the birth of new monstrosities. They are creatures of base instinct that exist only to feed and to multiply. They feel no pity, know no remorse, and are utterly deaf to reason. Which is why they must be destroyed. Every last one of them. The infirmary is full of the Sin Eaters' victims, left here to spend their final hours waiting for the change to overtake them.
It's just a matter of time. More for some, less for others. Those patients will all become monsters in the end. And to add insult to injury, the afflicted are feared, shunned, cast out of society, and exiled here to the edge of the world. The only good thing I have to say about this hellish place is that it has served me well as a training ground. Teslin and the others have also been kind enough to share their knowledge of the Sin Eaters, which is knowledge I can now share with you, while you help me finish my patrol, of course. Alright, and so with that we have found Alisaie. I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break here, and then we are going to resume with the main scenario quest. Please stand by. good to be the tank, isn't it? Okay. Hopefully you got a little, you got a good chance to hear the music there. But I am back, and we're gonna pick things up once we're done with combat here. Alright, Alisaie. Here's what we'll do. I'll take the east side of the inn, and you clear the west. That way you can have an undiluted experience with the resident terrors. These marks on your map are where the usual trouble spots are. You can assume that any beast with a white hide or carapace is a sin eater, but you'll know for sure soon enough when they come slavering after your aether. Remember, it's kill or be killed with these monsters. Once you've slain whatever prowling around out there, we can rendezvous back at the north entrance. Good hunting. Thank you for the stun there. Alright, so let's make our way to the north now. Or not. Kind of funny that ended up as crystal like that. Yeah, when we were in the, on the 13th, I don't remember us ever seeing, like a wall of crystal like that, so... but that could be, Minfilia's work as well. I'm gonna center up these bars a little better here. Okay, pull that to the right a little bit and we should be good. Okay, that should be serviceable for now. Alright, on to the next one. Quite the crowd here. Alright, back to the south we go. How did you fare? I thought there might be one or two lurking on the fringes. Nothing out of the ordinary for this area. I expect you noticed it yourself, but individually, these lesser sin eaters are no more deadly than any natural predator you might encounter in the desert. It's when they appear in numbers that they pose a threat. Much like the Void Scent, they have an unfortunate tendency to flock to the strongest of their kind. Thus, when a powerful sin eater goes on the hunt, it might be attended by a veritable swarm of weaker kin. Imagine an army of such creatures descending on a village or hamlet. That's the basic idea behind my patrols, to cull their ranks often enough that their numbers won't be overwhelming when the big ones come out to play, and you've certainly helped on that front. Let's report our victories to Teslin, shall we? Here's another Amaro keep. Alisaie tells me you helped out on her patrol. You have our thanks, and my apologies for leading you from one battle to another ever since the moment we met. In any case, I am glad to see the two of you found each other. You have no idea how badly Alisaie has missed your company. Everything as always. If Prince were here, he would... That's an exaggeration, and I don't sound like that, either. I was simply trying to view matters from another perspective, and I respect Prince's methods. Honestly, after seeing him in action, I can understand why. The way he leaps into the fray without hesitation, it really is something to behold. I might be a little smitten myself. I'm only teasing. Though I've no doubt he deserves all the admiration he gets, just as you do. What was that we just received? Okay, so this is basically giving us gear. Headgear type determined by current job or class at time of opening. Okay, so if you need gear, you can just get it from the quest lines, basically. Let me go ahead and use this so it's not taking up space. I'd love to lay out a welcome meal, but the duties I put off when I went to the market are still waiting for me. There are 101 things that need doing. I'm sorry, but would you mind waiting here with Alisaie? What? And twiddle our thumbs while you work yourself to death? Surely there's something we can help you with. I could do with a hand, that is true. Thank you. You can start by helping me sort out the larder, Alisaie. While we do that, could you tend to a few patients, perhaps? There are 3 in particular I meant to visit. It's just a matter of saying a few words to them and seeing that their skin isn't caked in sand. Their names are Poinil, Toddin, and Halric. They may not give much in the way of a response, but I promise they'll be pleased to meet someone new. Thank you. Toddin glances up at you blankly, but you notice the tension in his face ease slightly. Oh wait, you're not one of them. Ulrich remains utterly still as you wipe the sand from his cheeks. The texture of his skin has hardened into something akin to plaster. You've seen to the patients? How were they? I think Ulrich's having an issue. Good. That's good. I knew they would enjoy meeting you. But I am concerned about Ulrich, though. I'll have to speak with the other carers, but I think his time may be near. We shall leave you to have that discussion, then. I was going to take Prince to Souq if you have any errands that need doing. Well, I suppose there is one thing. Would you pick up a nectarine from the markets, please? Cassard's caravan just passed through, so Ronron should have some fresh fruit. Come then, Prince. There's something I want you to see, right after we stop at Ronron's stall, of course. Alright, so that's going to take us back up there. Let's go ahead and just teleport over. Did I pick up? Oh, no, I did not attune to that before. Alright, we're going to have to hope that we can get back over there at some point. Oh-ho, back again, are you? You need another taste of Ronron's wares? Actually, we're looking to buy a nectarine. Do you have any in stock? Oh yes, nectarines, peaches, grapes, fresh and juicy. Given how richly you cracked your coin purse with me, I might still owe you food. Here, take this one, free of charge. Gods, I've never seen a moored merchant give away something for nothing before. How much coin did you spend here? Oh yes, I'll take a jar of honeyed worms as well. Oh no, they're not for me. It's an offering of sorts. The worms, if you please. Only the best wrigglers for you. Come again, my friends. Right, that's our shopping chores taken care of. Let's head up past the Aetheryte to the main tower. The view I want to show you can only be seen from its very top. Here are your precious worms. That buys us a trip to the top of the tower, does it not? Glazed wrigglers! You actually brought them! I really shouldn't let you, but just this once, alright? Only once. Never fails. Shall we?
Look, over there, where the wall is broken. Do you see what lies beyond? That's what the land became after the light flooded in. An empty white nothingness. Life cannot exist in such conditions. The primordial light would wreak havoc on the body's etheric balance. That nectarine you bought. It's Halric's favorite fruit. Most of the patients, Halric included, survived the attacks of powerful eaters. But their fate was sealed all the same. The monster's corruption has entered their bodies, and their very essence is being subsumed by light. The twisted state of the world itself just makes matters worse. Under normal circumstances, a person's ether naturally tends to equilibrium. But for these poor souls, the opposite is true. Sooner or later, every single one of them will turn. Teslin and the patients, they all know this. They know what has to be done before the change goes too far, before the eater within takes over. The preferred method is mixing poison into their favorite food. In my time here, I've borne witness to a lot of last meals. I feel just as helpless as before. No matter how hard I fight, it's never enough. But it's a war I mean to wage, nonetheless. Speaking of wars, do you remember how I made you promise not to leave me and then promptly collapsed? Well, let's just say I had a few choice words for the Exarch concerning the timing of his summons. But even if the fault lay with someone else, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd abandon you on the battlefield. So I swore that I'd make up for my absence there by making a difference here. And that's what keeps me moving forward, even when things seem hopeless. On which note, it's time we headed back. The longer we keep Teslin waiting, the harder this will be for her.
Let's do it. I'm glad I was able to show you that. When it comes to understanding the catastrophe which befell the First, one glimpse of the empty wasteland beyond the wall is worth more than an hour of Orianger's lecturing. And I needed you to know beyond a doubt that Teslin has no other choice. That nectarine will be a kindness. It isn't just the threat posed to others. When a person becomes an eater, the pain appears to be excruciating. The carers are truly fond of their wards, and would spare them that suffering. It is their way of fighting back against a fate worse than death. Alright, let us make our way back to Teslin. Ah, here's one of our hunt targets. good bit of experience there. Alright, before I forget again, let's go ahead and attune to the 8th rite. You're back. I hope you had a nice time. Did you manage to find a nectarine? Let's hand that over. Thank you. Alisaie has explained why I wanted this, has she? I can see it in your eyes. But we may not need it just yet. I spoke with the others and we've decided to keep an eye on Harik for now. Thanks to you, though. If his time does come suddenly, we'll be ready to send him on his way with a taste of happier days. Well, nothing is going to happen for a little while yet, so let's see if we can't lighten the mood. We don't want our gloomy faces worrying the patients. I think it's time for that welcome meal, don't you? Take a seat, and I'll make us a nice stew.
Speak up if you'd like another helping. I made a little bit more than usual today.
And you've added something special to the broth, if I'm not mistaken.
Aye, well, it's not often we have visitors from the Crystarium, so I may have thrown in a few extra bits and bobs.
I'll have another bowl then.
That's what I like to hear. Give me a moment to warm up the pot. In a place like this, you learn to take what moments of happiness you can get. I remember when I first came here with my mother. She was showing the early signs. I knew there was no way to save her, but I just couldn't face what needed to be done. That's the way of it for most people. Why they travel from arms to stay here. Beaten, broken souls come to wait out the inevitable, to receive the mercy of a painless death. When my mother finally left this world, I was mad with grief, but also thankful that her passing was a peaceful one. It's never easy, ending a life you've cared for, even when you believe they go on to a better place. I often find myself wishing the Warrior of Darkness would come and do that part for me.
The Warrior of Darkness?
You've never heard the tale? I'm not sure where it began, but every child in Norvrent could tell you a version of it. Warrior of Darkness, servant of death, take care of our souls at our dying breath. Let sinners and eaters of sin go with thee, that all may return to the sunless sea. Well, that's the version I was taught anyway. It's just an old bedtime story. He's certainly never deigned to visit us here.
Which is a good thing, surely. He sounds rather ominous.
Do you think so? I always liked the idea that he treated every soul the same, even the Sin Eaters.
Wouldn't it be fun if we become the Warrior of Darkness? Ha ha ha. Something's happening.
They're coming.
Teslin! Have you seen Halric? I swear, I only took my eyes off him for a moment.
Prince, Alisaie, we have to go look for Halric. I don't know what's gotten into him, but if he's wandering out there alone... We'll assign search areas and split up. Any idea where he might be headed? No, he's never done anything like this before. But it can't be a coincidence that the other patients are suddenly so agitated. They can sense something. In any case, let's keep the search close to the inn. Halric isn't very sure on his feet, so he won't have gone far. I'll search the east side. Please, Halric. Please be alright. I'll cover the north and west then. You take everything from here to the south. Okay. To the south we go. And just a quick note here. It's very possible that there could be gardeners in the area at this point. And if the noise level becomes a little bit too much, then I will halt the stream until the noise has calmed down. But hopefully that's not the case here. You see no signs of Halric. Maybe he went further west. Scan your surroundings in search of Halric, and suddenly find yourself under attack.
Any sign of him?
Nothing yet.
No luck then. But he surely can't have gone far. We should keep looking. The Sin Eaters are out in force, and if we don't find him soon, you can be sure they will. Did you see the size of that thing? It must be one of the nasty ones. Wherever it's going, it can only mean trouble. After it!
Let's go.
There it is! Is that... Oh no! Ulrich! We have to run! Teslin! No!
She's being turned.
We all deserve happiness, wherever we can find it. The time left to you is precious. No one should die in pain. Mother, I... No!
Quite the way to go. Alright, so, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, it sounded like the gardeners had arrived, and that is in fact the case here. This was not something that I could control from my side, unfortunately. So, for the time being, I'm going to be ending the stream until noise levels have come down to an acceptable level, at which point we will resume. In the meantime, I am going to be taking care of my challenge logs as well as my roulette, so hopefully by the time I rejoin you, I will be at level 71 or 72. In the meantime, thank you for joining me today. This is PrinceBrightstar signing off. I'll catch you next time.